Saitama, Jinwoo, and Rudeus all followed the famous One Punch Man routine to get in shape. But which one had the most realistic transformation? In this video, I'll be analyzing each of their physiques, breaking down what type of training you'd really need to do to look like them, and then ranking their physique transformations from least to most realistic. But before we get into that, we need to first understand what is the One Punch Man workout, and what type of results would you expect if someone were to follow this routine? So we all know that the One Punch Man workout is 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run every single day. Now that is great for getting started because it doesn't require any weights. You can do it 100% at home as long as you have a floor and a place to run outside. But there's a lot of limitations with this, which we're gonna get into. So let's break down each exercise and see what type of gains and which muscles we would see developed for this routine. The push-up is mostly going to hit your chest, your front delt, and your triceps. This means you're not gonna see any side delt development or rear delt development, which are the muscles that kind of make you look big, especially from the side, right? Because if I didn't have any side delts, my arms would look pretty skinny. So we should look out for that. But we should definitely see a large chest and some good tricep definition from the push-ups. Now next, let's look at the sit-ups. The sit-ups are obviously going to be training your abs and maybe a little bit secondarily your obliques. Now, if we were doing twist crunches, right, it's basically the same thing, but you're just twisting at the top, right? We would see a lot more oblique and serratus development, but if we're sticking to a strict One Punch Man workout, we shouldn't see too much of that development. So what I'm looking for the sit-ups is just a very strong core, nothing crazy, but the abs should still be a prominent feature for a physique using this routine. The squats are obviously going to be hitting your legs, but the thing is with squats is that if you're just doing them with body weight, you're not gonna see a lot of muscle growth beyond the very beginning, just because your legs can tolerate a lot of weight, right? Your legs are very strong. So if you're only doing bodyweight squats, especially 100, which most beginners could probably do right now without feeling too tired, you're not gonna see crazy leg gains. You should see a little bit of development in them, a little bit of musculature, but nothing crazy, no insane muscle mass. A big downside of squats is that you're not gonna be hitting your calves at all. So we shouldn't really see any calf development, maybe a little bit from the running, which we're gonna get into, but they shouldn't be overdeveloped. Maybe just a little bit muscular, a little bit of definition, and that's it. And finally, we have the 10-kilometer run. You're not gonna really see much muscle development from this because you're just running, you're doing cardio. You'll have endurance benefits, you'll be able to run more, which for all the characters that we're talking about, where they're heroes, they're hunters, they're adventurers, running is gonna be very important for their tasks, so it helps them in their universe, but muscle-wise, we're not gonna see really much impact from the running. So the main muscle development we should be seeing in this workout routine should be your chest, your front delt, your tricep, your abs, and a little bit of quad definition. That's it. If we see any development to the calves, any development to the side delts, and especially the back, there is no back training in this routine. So any back musculature is definitely gonna be kind of sus. So these are gonna be the pitfalls we'll look out for when we start analyzing their physiques. Speaking of which, let's get into that.
Okay, let's get started with Saitama. So, this is probably the main image that we see of his physique, and already we can tell that he has quite a lot of muscle, right? We take a look at his side delts. They are pretty defined. He has some pretty good shape to them. His biceps and triceps, they're not overly developed, but they do look pretty huge. Forearms look good, but whoa. What the fuck is this? Look at his legs, yo. Look, especially these fucking calves. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, his calves are so fucking rough. Like, compared to the guy behind him, Saitama's calves are fucking delectable. Jesus Christ. That's incredibly sus. I don't think we would really see that with One Punch Man training. So, Saitama, what have you been doing there, buddy? And even his quads. Like, look at these quads. These are pretty beefy quads. Like, even like his vastus medialis. That thing's fucking enormous, right? This is a lot of quad development, especially with the muscle size. I don't think we're gonna really see this with the One Punch Man workout, right? Let's look at his abs. Abs look pretty good. You don't see any oblique or serratus definition. Perfect. Now, he does look to be a little bit of a higher body fat percentage, right, compared to the guys that we're going to see after. Saitama definitely is the highest body fat percentage. He might be at 15 or 16%, but chest looks fine. The side delts do have a bit too much size. Even his traps, they're okay. But overall, just his arms look really beefy. His legs are fucking beefy, but his calves are... Yeah, okay, I'm fucking whatever. But here's the thing, he did this for 300 days, and if we look at his manga physique, this looks a lot more like what we would expect. But unfortunately, we're going to be rating the overall score based off of this physique, and already, it's not looking too good. And even just right now, his lats, look at that, lat definition. There's no back training in the One Punch Man workout. So, Saitama, your physique's looking a little sus, buddy. Let's move on to the next one. So for Jinwoo, the very first thing that we can see from his physique are these fucking delectable abs. Oh my god, you can fucking grate meat on those. Yeah, those abs are insane. I don't think you're gonna get those abs even if you were training full bodybuilding style 20 sets per week on your abs for years. So this is fucking rough, right? Now with the sit-ups, you would see more ab definition, right? And we can see his serratus coming in here, so Jinwoo's definitely a lot leaner, but we don't see too much obliques until we go to here with the right lighting. So we would expect to see more of this muscle development if you were doing twist crunches, but the abs are insanely developed. This is easily the best part of his physique, maybe a little too developed. Let's look at his arms. Side delt pops out. That's also a little sus. Arms are very small, so that's good. That's kind of what you would expect. A little bit of forearm development. His wrists seem to be pretty small, so the arms seem to check out, except for the side delt. And then if we look at the front part of his physique, front delt looks good, chest looks defined. Again, he's very lean, so it's going to make his physique look a lot better. Here, not too many striations in the mid section, right? There's not a lot of oblique definition. You can't even see the serratus here compared to over here. So this is more of like an art style thing, although. So there's a little bit of discrepancies between, which frame I took it on or which artist drew it, right? And then the back, there's quite a bit of back muscles, right? He has insanely high lat insertions. Like, look at that. That's pretty high. But that's also very developed, right? We aren't supposed to be seeing a lot of back development. His triceps look fine. This is probably what we would expect. But again, we can see a lot of grooves in his back, and maybe, for the benefit of the doubt, maybe he's just lean and that's why we're seeing this, but there's quite a bit of definition in the back that I probably wouldn't have seen. And then again, his abs are insane. But aside from the abs and the back, this physique is still pretty good, still pretty realistic to what you would see. Small arms, but defined, well-defined chest, and some good ab development. So overall, this is still pretty good, but we have one more character to go through, and that is Rudeus. Right off the bat, why do we see so much back development? What the fuck? So that's already incredibly suspicious, but we can see his arms aren't super developed. We see his shoulders. Okay, that's fine. I mean, he is also at the bottom part of a push-up, so this could be a little bit suspicious. We'll have to look out for that, but it's not too bad, right? We look at his chest and his arms. Looks pretty good. This art style makes his chest look fucking enormous, but as we'll see in the later photos, it's not actually as huge. This is just this one random artist beefing him up. Shoulders look good. Biceps, you can see that they're defined, but they're not huge. Even here, we can see some abs, and here we see some abs, but we don't see that much of oblique definition, right? Just a bit of ab midsection definition, and that's it. So this is pretty good. And again, his back. There's a little bit of back muscles here that I wouldn't have wanted to see from this routine, but if we look at his transformation from like the in-universe perspective, he's an adventurer. He's running around and he has to pick up things, or he's in Renoa. So actually no, he's not in Renoa at this point. He's in Rosenberg. He's in Rosenberg at this point. And so it's in the northern territories, so he has to shovel snow. So he's bending over a lot. With the One Punch Man workout, we wouldn't see this, but in universe, it kind of makes sense. Now, if we look at Jinwoo quickly again, Jinwoo's in a fucking hospital. We're not gonna see any back development because he's literally doing the strictest version of the One Punch Man workout. Whereas Saitama, he's actually being a hero. Rudeus, he's an adventurer. Jinwoo is literally in a hospital, so he can't do much else beyond the base workout. So I'll kind of give Rudeus a pass for the back development. And if we look at the final version of his physique, which I'll be kind of using as like the ideal version of what his physique looks like, barring the artistic discrepancies aside. Chest is pretty small, but defined. We don't see a lot, if any, side delt development, which is what we want to see. Triceps are defined, and the midsection, again, we see that it's developed, but it's not very big. Compared to Jinwoo, whose abs are insanely delectable, Rudeus's abs are, if anything, kind of mid. We see no oblique definition, we see no serratus, maybe a little bit here, because he is lean. But overall, this is the physique of someone who does a little bit of exercise. They have some definition. Maybe they've been going to the gym for a few months, doing some subpar training. So overall, this is a very realistic physique transformation that you could expect from this type of work. But again, the back definition is a little bit sus because you wouldn't see it from a strict One Punch Man workout. And his back here in this photo is a little bit suspicious. So overall, it's still good, but it's not perfect. So let's go into ranking all of their physiques.
At the very bottom, the least realistic transformation using the One Punch Man routine is, funnily enough, fucking Saitama. Yes, since we're going by the anime versions of their physiques, clearly Saitama has too much muscle. His calves are fucking enormous, which, okay, maybe he just has genetics, I'll give him that, but still, they're too big. He has way too much muscle, his side delts are developed. We don't see too much of his back, so I can't say too much about there. But his legs have quite a lot of mass to them. His traps and his side delts, all of these things make it very apparent that to get his physique in the anime, you're not going to get that using 100 sit-ups, squats, and push-ups. Saitama, great physique, achievable if you were doing a bodybuilding type workout, maybe like a push-pull legs kind of thing, but not with the One Punch Man workout. So Saitama goes into third place. Now in second place, we have Jinwoo. I know, it is a close battle between Jinwoo and Rudeus, but I think the biggest reason why Jinwoo doesn't actually go to the top is simply because his abs are way, way overdeveloped. Like, those things are fucking bulletproof. You're not going to get abs like that, even if you are training for a long time, right? You would need insane ab genetics to get such thick, voluptuous abs like that. The rest of his body looks good because he's lean, so that's why he looks like he has more muscle, but when he puts on a t-shirt, he actually looks fairly small, which is what you'd expect from a physique like this. But just his ab definition alone, along with maybe some of his obliques and his serratus, we wouldn't really see that using the One Punch Man workout routine alone. He would have needed to do something like twist crunches in order to see that development. So that's why I believe Jinwoo's physique is relatively attainable, minus a couple of those things, which is why Rudeus's physique is actually the most realistic transformation using the One Punch Man workout. He doesn't have overly developed side delts. His back is a little bit sus, depending on which angle we're talking about, which scene we're talking about, but overall, he has a little bit of ab definition. He doesn't really have much obliques definition at all, which is great, that's what we would expect. His chest is defined, you can see his triceps, so you can tell he's been working out, but he doesn't have that much muscle, which is exactly what you would expect from someone doing a subpar workout routine like this, which is why I believe Rudeus has the most realistic transformation. Now, of course, the One Punch Man workout routine is great to get started, but if you want to build an aesthetic physique and put on a lot more muscle, you're going to need a much better workout routine. you need to have a much more in-depth understanding of training, and you need to be putting in a lot more effort. And all of that information took me years to find out on my own. And so the transformation that took me 4 years to go from skinny to aesthetic, with what I know now, I could teach you that, and you could do that transformation in half the amount of time it took me. So if you want to build that dream body of yours to look like your favorite anime protagonists, I put all of the information I wish I knew when I got started inside the Training Arc Blueprint. It has everything you need to know to build your dream physique. The link's in the description if you're interested. But as always, remember, you are the protagonist of your own story.